literally don't have to work for food. You get air conditioning, a roof over your head, water, a family, attention, and no risk of getting eaten by predators. But that's abuse. Right? Like, there are people that abuse their animals. But I mean, these animals just look like, dude, they probably they get paid to go do a show, the owner brings them there, they stand there for fucking 5 hours, shit on the floor, get back in the thing, and then go sit in a field and fucking graze for 10 more days.
I just want to know if this is labor. Okay, thank you. Nothing is animal abuse.
She tried and failed to make any decent points. Although vegan booty
Better than being in the wild, getting fucking mauled by, dude. They're getting hair. Like, this is such a bad argument. If they're in the wild and their foot gets fucked up or they get an infection, they're fucking dead. They're dead. Like, they're done. They're 100% dying. Without a doubt, it's going to be a slow, painful, gruesome death that they prolong for months just to die anyway. If they live with their owner, they're going to have that infection, they're going to take it to a fucking vet, they're going to give them an antibiotic or whatever it is, and it'll be gone in 5 days.
They look like they're under so much stress.
this awesome dad.
That's what you do with your dog and cat, bruh. You ever seen somebody take their, oh my god, the fucking, the donkey or the pony has a fucking stupid outfit on. You ever see what motherfuckers dress their dogs up for Christmas, bro? You ever see what somebody put, the outfits motherfuckers put on their dogs?
And then quickly stop there and
That shit sucks.
fix.
Yeah, no, we'll just keep walking that way then. Keep walking that way.
And thankfully police were there to intervene. After posting her video to TikTok, Tash again made national news, in which they'd interview the horse's owner.
Meg Freeman owns the pony business. She says she's being bombarded with abuse.
And they got the easiest lives in the world. They just walk around. They walk around and eat grass, bro. That's what they would do in the wild, but instead this shit's provided for them. Also, like, there is moral ways. A lot of the ways you get your meat are fucked up, right? They're cows that are sitting in a closed area, and they just eat for days until they're fucking fat, and then they shoot them. But if you got, like, animals, say you got, like, free-range chickens, and they're living, like, a few years, and they get to fucking walk around and do whatever the hell they want, and then they just get shot in the head one day, like, dude, they wouldn't be alive without you. And they're going to die in the wild anyway around that time, so it's like, okay, then it's not that fucked up.
Only 1 week later, Vegan Booty announced, "I'll be going to court on the 3rd."
This was long ago.
Well, only 1 week later,
2021.
Vegan Booty announced, "I'll be going to court on the 13th of May, as I received a summons for a restraining order from the owner of Ponies for All Occasions. Those who dislike me."
Meat's also really bad for the environment. Oh, yeah. No, like cow farts, as dumb as it seems, like methane. Just cow production in general is bad for the environment. Dude, those are arguments you could have for veganism, though. Like, those are logical arguments you could have for veganism.
They are triggered
It's bad to eat cows, because the more cows there are, the worse the climate is.
because I've made them realize that they're animal abusers. What I'm going through right now isn't a loss. It only means we're winning.
I'm always a non-violent protester, and I never harass anyone.
I don't even think the vegan teacher is this crazy. This girl is making vegan teacher seem like an angel. At least the vegan teacher didn't have her own number plates, as this made Vegan Booty foolishly recognizable.
Meat and cheese smeared across her family's car. Vegan activist Tash Peterson.
Oh, yeah. Baloney? Walmart baloney smeared all over her family's car?
Crosses the line.
People recognized her car, then threw meat bones on her driveway, yet trolls weren't the only people who showed up at her house.
I've woken up.
Put like a dead possum in her fucking car. They see her car, they like go and get roadkill and just fucking like flop it right in the back seat.
Once again to the police knocking at my door. So I've been issued with another barring notice.
Controversial vegan activist is banned from every pub in her state after becoming notorious for wild stunts where she screams at innocent families. rules.
Anything that sells alcohol, I'm not allowed into. A penalty of $10,000 applies if I break.
But listen, whenever they're like, yeah, I'm banned from Walmart, I'm banned from, guess who the fuck's gonna stop you? Like, they know she's banned from anywhere that serves alcohol. Like, if she just pulls up at like 1 a.m. and is like, hey, can I get a fucking Guinness? Like, they're gonna be like, oh, aren't you that vegan booty? You're banned from every pub in the world. 7-Eleven, just a fucking random worker that has no idea who she is.
This barring notice.
The ban had come after another disgusting protest.
They ID her? Yeah, but they'd have to know her by name. Every bar in what, Australia?
Yet Vegan Booty was still convinced that she'd done nothing wrong.
Is that an iPhone that was made in a sweatshop? Is that an iPhone that you're holding that was made in a fucking sweatshop?
I don't really have a right to freedom of speech here in Australia. It's honestly pretty corrupt.
Dude, like, deadass. Regardless of how moral you think you are, like, you could be a vegan person that's always been vegan from the start, from the day you're born. If you buy a product, if you don't live off the land from the day you're born to the day you die, and just plant fucking fruits and vegetables and just only eat that, and never step on a fucking bug by it, like, you're killing something. You're killing something, you're facilitating the abuse of something by buying a product, or the immoral, low pay of foreign workers, everything you fucking have. Regardless of whether or not she's vegan, everything she owns is from fucking China, or from somewhere where these people are working 20 hours a fucking day, getting paid nothing to fucking crank out products that you can buy with a fucking $5 bill.
Her freedom of speech is just going to a restaurant and screaming like a lunatic about murder. There is a difference between speech and screaming. Your freedom of speech, our freedom to eat meat. Goodbye. She'd therefore leave Perth and spend a month protesting in Melbourne, but when she tried to fly back home, the government said she couldn't return.
The Australian police have banned me from entering into my own city. If I choose to fly home, I could face a 1-year imprisonment.
Her application was rejected based on her statements made in public, and after eventually having the rejection overturned, you will not believe how awful she became. She'd go back to harassing the innocent pony business.
Same pony, bro. Like, yo, does she think she's changing the world, bro? Like, just this random farmer in the middle of Australia, or not even a farmer, this random woman in Australia that owns 2 ponies, and everywhere they go, there's just this woman. The ponies can't give consent, therefore it's forced labor.
This before trying to ruin the life of a hard-working chef. John Mountain owns Fire Restaurant in northern Perth, where on one unassuming night, a diner made a complaint about the lack of vegan options on the menu and was charged $32 for vegetables. Well, rather than bending the knee,
Then don't go to the restaurant! You look at the menu before you pull up. It's 2024. Who the fuck goes into a restaurant, sits down, you could read the menu and go, oh, there's not, I've done that. I have gone to a restaurant, I've sat down, I've read the menu, I'd say, I don't want any of this. And I fucking get up and I leave. I go, none of this looks appealing to me. And then I fucking go to the next one.
John instead stated it is not a vegan restaurant, and if customers...
If they don't have vegan options, then they don't get vegan customers. That reduces their income and that affects them as a business. That's the downside for them. What are we gonna fucking freak out about? They don't, okay, you don't have vegetables? Now people want vegetables, they're not gonna fucking come here.
Want vegan options, they should go elsewhere, announcing on their Facebook page, sadly all vegans are now banned from Fire for mental health reasons. We thank you for your understanding.
All vegans are banned. End of. No more. Never again. God help them.
Everybody loved the chef's bold move, well, except for one person known as Vegan Booty. She showed up at the restaurant not just once but twice, blasting dying animal
isn't she technically supporting animal abuse as well by using money? Because even if she's buying products that are vegan friendly, she's putting the money in the pockets of people that are going to use that money to buy products that aren't vegan. Like, even if she's buying a piece of clothing that's just not, like, say it's fucking vegan friendly, the person that's getting that money is now going to use that money to buy a fucking Chick-fil-A sandwich. Like, if you want to be 100% animal friendly, you literally have to go live in the woods and farm and just grow crops. That's the only option.
Having disrupted his business multiple times, the chef understandably lost it, yet still took responsibility for the damage Tash had done.
And I'm sorry to say, Layla, I lost my cool, and I lost my cool because now it's really disrupting my business. And I could see the look on my customers' faces, my staff, they were all a little scared and a bit nervous, and I stormed out.
Sadly for Vegan Booty, however, her activism exploded the restaurant's popularity.
So far as my business is concerned, I've trebled my income. I'm now, in her words, having to murder more animals because of their...
Her doing that makes it make more animals die. Like her trying to stop it is the exact opposite.
Their actions.
Unfortunately, there was a bit of a trade-off.
I lost my partner because of this. I thought I was going to marry this woman, and she just couldn't handle the amount of attention. She's a very private person.
Yet this wasn't the only marriage that Tash's TikTok ruined. Her next target was, get this, the Victon Veterinary Clinic, a business literally designed to help unwell animals, and Vegan Booty lost it over budgies out the front.
You're the type of vet that eats your own patients, are you?
Yeah, I do eat meat. So, but I don't eat dogs and I don't eat cats and I don't appreciate you pushing your agenda on my personal.
I don't appreciate you enslaving animals.
I have a dog in a cage out the back of the road receiving treatment. Am I an enslaved kid?
Although it seems for the first time ever, Vegan Booty is actually facing consequences. Defamation action against Miss Tash.
Yeah, I mean, because what she is doing against businesses is technically defamation. She's trying to ruin their income and ruin their name.
Ash Peterson, 17,700 raised. The vet was announcing, we are launching a civil action in the Supreme Court of Western Australia, which has conveniently been running over the last 2 months. The trial has revealed that Vegan Booty hasn't only falsified her taxable income, but she's also been able to ruin another marriage. This might explain why Fi is also suing Tash.
This is going to teach her a lesson. If she's fined that amount of money, she's going to think twice.
And while she's always stated,
I actually measure my own success by the amount of payments and criticism that I have.
it seems penalty after penalty is finally taking its toll. Her public nuisance stunts are becoming far less frequent, as most of her content now
Dude, it also just gets, like, repetitive.
focuses on street interviews.
Do you have a moral justification for animal abuse?
Yummy.
Vegan Booty will likely never change, but maybe she's reached a decent middle ground that's respectful not just...
Well, yeah, she might now just be doing... She might have realized, like, hey, I could actually change people's mentality about this if I just do interviews rather than just fucking run into businesses and start fucking screaming. So, you know, maybe she'll actually take a better approach at it. I don't know. Anyways, WVED, Ryland. Unschooling on TikTok.
School, homework, detention, swirlies. There are lots of reasons why someone may not want to put their kids in a typical schooling environment. And there are lots of reasons why kids themselves hate school, especially if they live in the U.S. Maybe not the worst education system in the world, but we sure are fighting for it. For all those reasons, it can make sense that someone may want to try out alternative schooling methods. The most popular being probably online schooling, which is something that a lot of people became familiar with.
But online schooling is so whack. You don't learn... Online schooling's easy, and it's great if you don't give a... But you're not going to learn anything. Online schooling is sitting there and half paying attention in a Zoom call and then cheating on a test.
You're with 2020. With online assignments and Zoom classes, it makes pretending to do algebra while playing Animal Crossing much easier. Then, of course, you have homeschooling, where your parents get to decide whether you're a dumb kid with no friends or a smart kid with no friends. But recently I found out there's a third option.
So we don't teach our children anything.
Aren't you legally required to, like, take classes up till a certain grade? Like, you can drop out of high school, but I think you have to finish, like, certain schooling. Students normally attend 12 grades of study over 12 calendar years, primary and secondary education, blah, blah, blah. Education is mandatory until 16. Yeah, you have to learn. But I'm assuming they're just saying their kids are learning, but they're actually just homeschooling them and then teaching them nothing.
Everything that they learn is in response to either their interests or their question. We have no curriculum. We have no school hours. We really just respond whenever they want to know something and do our best to make sure they really get it.
Free schooling.
What if they just want to do nothing or play video games all day? Because I'm fairly certain that's what's going to happen.
Or unschooling is like a branch of homeschooling. The school. This website says it's an educational philosophy that relies on a kid's innate curiosity and desire to learn. In families that practice unschooling, students do not attend school and do not follow any...
I think kids do have an innate desire to learn. Like when you're like 5 or 6, like your brain's a sponge. You want to understand certain things. But that's also a genetic factor. Like you can want to ask more questions than somebody else or vice versa. Somebody redeemed that. You might not give a shit. Like obviously, yeah, the average 5-year-old is going to be a curious kid, but some people are going to be more curious than others. And if your kid's not asking questions, they're just not learning. Like if they're satisfied with the knowledge they have, then they're not going to learn anything.
Set homeschool curriculum. So they typically don't have any courses. They just go about their day, and if the kid happens to ask a question like, hey, what's math? Then the parent would explain it and try to teach in the moment, which relies on the kid.
And parents also aren't great teachers. Obviously, yeah, you raise your kid and they can learn from you, but you're also valuing your kid's knowledge off of your capacity to teach them whatever they ask. Like if you don't know the question to the answer, they're just not going to know the answer.
Kid to ask really good, insightful questions all the time, which they usually do. Mom, why is my booger purple? Also, during which year did the French Revolution end? She goes on to show us an example of the unschooling her son has been doing.
My son's 6, and it took some patience, and not comparing myself to other moms, but this is his book. Look at this. Lamb, egg, jar, lion. This is him doing this by himself. So,
Yo, that looks like some shit that would be in a horror movie.
He's 6 years old, and this is seemingly the first time he's ever written words down. All of the top comments are pointing out that this isn't very advanced for a 6-year-old, and I don't have a way to gauge whether it is or not, so I asked my mom, who homeschooled 5 kids. She said, well, there are way too many factors to consider. Are they a first child with a stay-at-home mom? Is their birthday at the end of the year? The wrong there. That's the wrong there, Mom. Yeah, that looks about like I would expect a 6-year-old to write. That doesn't seem extraordinary. And then, of course, she closed it out with this whole
what the fuck is that
emoji because she thinks it's just a regular smiling emoji, and I am not going to explain to her why it's not. But regardless of skill level, I don't know that this can be called writing, not because of how it looks, but because she mentions he's been going around the house and copying these words down, so he can't write them from memory and probably doesn't know what they mean. He's just mimicking the lines of the letters, so this is more like drawing. She's also said that they teach in moments exactly like this. This is where they would educate while the kid is showing interest in the topic, but I don't think she did that.
This is him doing this by himself.
From what we can see, they didn't go into any more depth. There isn't any more writing aside from what he put there initially, so they didn't turn it into a lesson and have him practice. But they did stop to make a TikTok, so while he's not getting a proper...
And you really want... I know that you really want a young kid to learn as much as they can, because that kind of shoots them in the right direction scale-wise. Them not helping their kid now is going to make their kid, when they're 15, a brick. Their kid's going to be dumb as shit. I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, but if you're not teaching your kid anything when they're 5, 6, 7, 8, when they hit 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, they're going to be grades behind everybody else, and then they're just going to be playing catch-up for the rest of their life.
For education, at least his parents are using him to become social media influencers. Cute. My light just
and my big fear about free schooling was that if my kids only went towards what they were interested in, saving.
Problem with that, I will say, yeah, that helps them with their interests, and they might have specialized work, and they might get really excelled at one individual task, but then they're going to be very unmotivated, because part of the school school, part of the benefit of school is being able to deal with the fact that you have to do shit you don't want to do.
Take only for things they're interested in, not cramming it with anything necessary. I was concerned that they would never be interested in things like reading and writing and math.
To counter this fear, have you tried teaching them reading and writing and math? It's really good for kids to learn at this age, and he clearly wants to. If you don't make an actual plan to educate
Chat, sipping that Simply Spiked mid-video.
them now, this is the level that they're going to stay at. The motivation is only going to decrease. Hey, Timmy, you want to learn about the alphabet now? A. Timmy, it's not cute anymore. A. Timmy, you're 17. A. But something Timmy would want to learn about is today's sponsor. Timmy.
I'm sorry.
She says he'll ask about math sometimes too.
Same with addition. Mom, what's 7 plus 5?
But that's not him learning it. That's him asking you for the answer. You're like Google. That's the problem, right? You're not giving him the facilities to learn the answer to those questions. Hubert just said 13. Hubert, were you unschooled? Because 7 plus 5 is 12.
It will come at the right time.
Why does she pause like this? The stare that she does is so scary. If my mom looked at me like this after I asked a math question, I would never ask one again. But maybe this is a one-off. Maybe she was just really excited and
You know, like if he says what's 7 plus 5, and the mom just goes 12, that's not teaching him. But if she's like, okay, here's how you learn it.
typically she does turn questions like this into a teaching moment.
When you see that somebody's bad energy and you don't like them because they're bad energy, what you're really saying is that they remind you of your...
He leans over, shut the fuck up!
No.
What if that was a teaching moment? What if they were about to ask what trigonometry is? While she doesn't push her kids to learn things like reading and writing, she does make sure to give lessons on the really essential things.
There is a God.
Mom, could you explain quantum entanglement theory? No, honey, but I can tell you what 7 plus 3 is.
Named Kronos, and he was so afraid that one of his babies was going to take over his kingdom that he said, every time one of my sons is born, I'm going to eat that.
He don't give a fuck. Right now, I'm telling you right now, that kid don't give a shit.
I'm going to eat my own son.
Learning the ABCs, no, we're too busy learning about cannibalistic deities. It's more important, and Kronos is really cool. He kind of hates. The child is asking questions, but mostly because he doesn't know what the heck is going on.
Because that's the nature of...
Because that's what psychopaths do. And they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And then you just start showing in serial killer videos. Everybody's like this out in the wild.
or Kronos time.
Man, this child is not learning anything from what you just said. Even if this kid understood what that answer meant, it wouldn't be an answer. Because her answer was just, that's just the name.
You go to a Walmart, the person right next to you is probably the next John Wayne Gacy. He's gonna shove you in the floorboards, Jack. You gotta learn to be smart.
For chronological time. Just because it does, that's how it is. You can tell he's
Stab them and run.
completely lost, but it doesn't matter because this lesson isn't for his benefit, it's for hers. More specifically, it's for her business's benefit because she promotes her book and website at the end of it. On that website, you can get some of her free audiobooks, or you can enroll in her school workshop for money. So she can teach, but only if you're a paying customer.
You see this show? The Walking Dead? This is a real show. This was shown on Discovery. This is what's happening everywhere outside of the U.S.
Maybe your kids would be able to read if they weren't so broke. Oh, you want to count to 100? Why don't you put 100 kids right here first? Let's start there. One of the key points in unschooling is that the kids learn life skills and not just scholarly ones. For example, how to cut vegetables.
Yeah, let's get a 6-year-old a fucking chef's knife.
Technique, baby.
Technique. You're supposed to fucking shell. You're supposed to shell your hand. They're just holding the carrot like it's a with their fucking all their fingers, just getting ready to fucking cut them off.
Is the point of this to prove that unschooling is effective here? Because to me, it just proves that over the course of 4 years, your child developed
I know my parents taught me at 4. Your parents tell you to cut vegetables at 4.
motor skills, and I don't think unschooling is responsible for that. If anything, they should be way better at this. If they're at home doing it all the time, they should be Zorro at this point. She's got a literal baby waving a knife around, and the only warning she's giving is in a sing-songy voice.
I would just be so scared my kid would stab me too. Because, like, dude, your kid's your 4-year-old kid's a fucking idiot. Like, it's not even just their kid. Every kid, like, what if the kid just goes, huh? Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
This kid does not have the
scary, dude. Like if I was at that house, that would scare me. if the kid had a knife.
Motor skills or the mental capacity to understand how dangerous this is, especially when she's acting like it's a silly thing happening. I'm gonna go in that door. Don't go in there. Whoa, why not? It's very dangerous. You will probably die. I don't know, it sounds pretty awesome when you say it. Your demise is...
A 5-year-old also just doesn't understand the concept of death. Like, trying to, like, that's why you just, like, yell at them if they pick up a knife and go, don't touch that!
Those seem kind of important, though. If only I could read. While I was looking into this account, I stumbled onto another unschooling mom.
Day one of unschooling, and I've got my kids helping me to clean the car. Teaching them hard work, taking care of the
Day one of unschooling. I'm having my kids do my taxes. I'm teaching them the rigorous system of government taxes.
things that you love, that you need, and also needed the car code.
Oh, so like chores. You're educating them by having them do regular house chores. You can't claim that cleaning the car,
You can have your kid do that while they're also just enrolled in school.
art, and learning hard work is an acceptable replacement for actual curriculum. Cleaning and taking care of things is something that kids should be learning on top of their regular education, not instead of. This parent said she pulled her kids out of school to do this because she was unhappy with the public education system.
We have 52 days until I pull my child out of public school and start unschooling him. Lots of hands-on stuff to teach him these things, not just reading out of a fucking...
I think it's really, like, I mean, those things hands-on stuff to teach their kid. It really depends on, like, what the parent's motivation is, but unschooling is like, oh, based off their point of view, you know, whether or not they want to learn. If you're going to homeschool, there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to be, like, actually teaching your kid.
What's wrong with public
This
school?
is something my sister would do. What do you mean your sister would unschool?
So,
And while, yes, there are a lot of things wrong with the public education system, I don't think that books in and of themselves are what's wrong with it. Books are usually pretty helpful, learning-wise. Not to be controversial. I don't know if she had maybe just a personal bad experience with books. You've got a lot of nerve showing up here.
It's been 5 years. Just let it go.
Let it go. You stole my college application essay.
Not this.
Like, I hate reading, but I will admit, dude, just reading in general makes you smarter. You don't even need to read, like, educational books. Like, if you read, you're probably smarter than, like, a lot of people.
Again,
I didn't get into Yale because of you.
I was in a bind.
Give me my paper back. And again, none of these are lesson plans. This is just hanging out with your kid, which is important, but so is being able to read a ruler. Very weird. Or even knowing what a number 2 pencil is. Why do they call it a number 2 pencil? Why don't they just call it a poop
I actually don't know.
pencil? She also claims that going to the grocery store qualifies as an unschooling lesson.
now they're going to go grocery shopping with me, and we're going to learn about reading labels. We're going to learn about math and money. When you're buying groceries, you need to make sure that the quality of it is good. So turn it over. See the prices on them right here?
Bro, you don't need to learn, like, you learn this when you go buy groceries yourself. You don't need to know this when your kid's 5. You learn this when you have money and buy shit yourself. And that's not even something you need to learn. That's like something you do when you're a broke college student and you have $40 and you need to fucking make that enough food for the week. So you fucking pull up and you do math in your head and you're like, okay, well, if I buy this bag of apples, I can eat an apple a day.
You typically want to make sure that you pick the lowest price.
These are just regular life skills that you should be teaching your kid, whether they're
I don't even think you need to be taught that. Like, I'm being so straight up. I don't even think you need to be taught that. I think that when the time comes and you have money and you need to buy groceries for yourself, you just fucking figure it out.
schooling or not. And how
You're not even learning.
times can a trip to the grocery store count as school? Because after a few, they're probably good to go, right? And next we have Timothy, graduating with a bachelor's and putting things in the cart, and a minor in not buying rotten strawberries. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm really good at expecting. I'm really good at expecting soft spots on apples. Thank you. I know. I can tell when the blueberries have been out for too long.
Said I couldn't do it. Behaves. Look at me now. When explaining her unschooling plan, she said the main things she'll be focusing on are starting a garden, and that she's going to be teaching them how to establish boundaries. You should be doing that already. And she's going to teach them how to bake and cook. You should do that already. And also sports.
I'm going to be doing lots of sports. So he'll be in any sports, every sport that we could possibly think of, because we will now have time to do so.
Okay, so now that we've listed
You have time to do that otherwise. What the fuck? Kids go to school for like fucking 5 hours. It's like 6 hours a day, and your kid's 5. They go to school at 9 and get out at like 3.
the extracurriculars, what are you going to teach them?
I was taking them to the aquarium and zoos and Learning through life experience.
What the fuck are they gonna learn at an aquarium, dog? That's a fucking field trip. What the fuck are you learning at an aquarium? You go to an aquarium. I've been to an aquarium. I've been to a zoo. You fucking go. You say, oh, that's a lot of fish. Wow, these fish aren't with these fish because they kill them. Oh, that's cool. What are you gonna be, a fucking marine biologist? Oh.
They're going to learn through
What
life
about oceanography, buddy? That'll fucking get you on the right path.
experiences. Kind of like everyone else. Always a lot. The only references she makes to actual school subjects are like this.
Day 2 of unschooling, we're at the park learning how to have fun. Before you get your panties in a wad, listen. Yes, we're going to be doing reading and writing and math and maybe science, but it's not going to look the same as traditional public school. It's going to be different.
These are just things that you should have mapped out before pulling your kids out of school. I never do anything for my kids without a plan, and I have 2 billion of them, and I make sure each and every one of them has a bed.
Unschooling? Like, dead ass? I'm gonna say this, and it might sound dumb as shit. An unschooling TikTok parent taking their kid to, like, a fucking butchery would make more sense than, like, them going to the grocery store.
Made out of galvanized steel with eco-friendly wood and a mattress that I borrowed from my aunt. Based on some of her older videos, it seems like she made this decision due to personal issues. drink with us? If we go to Applebee's, I have a coupon. Oh, we were thinking like a club. Ooh, love a good club. Very hard to get the nail right though. No, like dancing. Now you're talking. Why are your pants so high?
And their qualifications are just going to be fucking shit because they don't have a school diploma. And maybe they'll start doing online school at a later age. But then they graduate whatever online mom school fucking enrolls them in, and they go apply at a fucking job. And hell, say they don't go to college. What the fuck are their credentials? They don't have a degree. They don't have a diploma. They didn't even fucking finish elementary school because they've never been on a school record. And they're going to go in there and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to work fucking 9 to 5 for you.
What happens when you send your kid to a classroom for 8 hours a day? That is outside influences impacting your child, because what they're going to learn isn't just coming from you. Beliefs that they're going to have aren't just coming from you.
Isn't that a good thing though? Your kid shouldn't only believe and think things that you think.
Yeah, that'd be really bad. Like, that's just like the biggest manipulative thing ever. I want my kid to think exactly what I think, because if they think exactly what I think, then they're going to be the perfect. They're going to be the perfect child because we're never going to disagree.
Shouldn't they get a bunch of different opinions and beliefs from people and get a variety of perspectives? If your idea of schooling is making sure that your kid thinks exactly like you, that's...
You're having an argument with your kid about something that you disagree upon is just showing that your kid is learning outside of just you.
Sounds less like education and more
Obviously, in some ways that might be bad, depending on what you're arguing about, but...
And unschooling is supposed to be about specializing your kid's education based on their specific ideas and interests. You can't tailor education to an individual if you don't see them as an individual. Also, the successful business she keeps referring to is a pyramid scheme.
I'm very proactive inside of my profession and my career of being an entrepreneur. They're likely going to follow that path because they're
selling fucking programs and, oh, well, if you use this code, you can work for me and you get a certain percentage of the sales.
We're going to see how successful.
So, at least she can teach them shapes. A little bit of this reminds me of how I was raised.
So you have to pay $250 to sign up, but every sign up you get $50. So if you sign up 5 people, you make your money back.
Again, I was
Oh, so it's a fucking pyramid scheme.
Schooled, you probably didn't know that. Just kidding. It's probably the only thing you know about me. Sorry, okay? Sorry I'm so mysterious, suave. Sorry I'm so shampoo-coated. But my homeschooling wasn't really in an attempt to make me more prepared for the world or because I couldn't necessarily handle a typical school environment. It was more because normal kids are secular and besties with Satan. Sometimes they say things like, hey, you should smoke this, or fart, and both of those are equally as bad. The sole reason for my being homeschooled was religion and being able to limit the amount of interaction I had with the outside world, whether it be people or media. I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 movies until I was 22. Just imagine being... What? I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 movies until I was 22. Just imagine being...
22?
Oh, you're not allowed.
Oh my god. Yo, what do you do for fun, though?
Jumanji, the Kevin Hart one, as a tax-paying citizen. And I think I would be better at a lot of things if I'd been able to interact with people my age before I was basically in my 20s. I missed out on a lot of skills, like how to interact with people, how to not perceive every human being as a potential threat, how to order a milkshake at Sonic without breaking down in tears. Isolating your kids and making yourself the only presence in their life is probably less about what's good for them and more about what's good for you. And it's completely normal to have anxieties about where your kids are or how outside sources are going to affect them, but that doesn't mean you should stop them from interacting with outside sources at all. That just sounds like you have anxieties that are being passed down to the next generation, like an heirloom. Like a little apprehensive piece of furniture. You okay, man? Yeah, just some chest pain. And I'm not saying you shouldn't homeschool your kids or do alternative schooling, because I'm sure a lot of kids would benefit from something like that. But just don't do it.
No, I'm not like, the biggest thing that I always say about homeschooling is, I don't think homeschooling's bad if they're learning the things they need to learn. It's just, you also want to add them in some sort of outside extracurricular thing where they're going to be able to get socialization. Like, let them play, like, club soccer.
Bad. Just do it good. Otherwise, your kid's going to end up like me, and you don't want that. That is a threat. Anyway, guys, I got to go to the grocery store for the 5th time today, so I got to go.
All right.
Fiction is true the same way numbers are true, I say.
Like writing the price of bread. Oh my god, it's down 7 cents today. That was definitely
You two are bad friends.
Who are these two idiots?
Asian dude. You two are disgusting.
Oh, you two are something.
We're bad friends.
Alright, 1, 2, 3. Welcome to another episode of Bad Friends. I'm your captain, and this is my sidekick.
No.
Andrew.
No.
This is my side guy, my side hustle.
No.
Piece, my side piece.
No, I'm the side piece.
First of all,
you're never a side. You're not even a part of the gang, right?
You're a side chunk. You're not a side.
You're a side chunk.
That's a pretty big piece. That's a pretty big piece.
You know. Also, could I just say something too? You're a little deceiving.
No, I saw the last episode. I never lied. I told you.